Hi there, I'm Richard Lewis reporting for cadred.org. I'm here with someone that it is in our contract we have to interview whenever he does turn up to events, which of course is less and less these days. It is Pez, currently representing Infused. I would have thought you would have been on the TLR train, but
no. Those days are over.
So what's gone on, just for the narrative purposes of this, because you will get this interview late. You've just lost to CRG in overtime.
Yeah.
So it's lower bracket, right? Is it?
It is. Yeah.
So, right. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I think you were one of the favourites to win, and people have been talking about how much you've been hardcore in the game and practicing. So, what kind of happened in the CRG game?
To be fair, we played our map Inferno, and we rolled them, and then we played their map Nuke, and they rolled us. And then it was down to train. Seemed a bit of an equal map because we're both the teams here. Whereas there's a few mixes are unpredictable, whereas teams set strats, and it was really close. They were 59 up, we brought it back to the overtime, and they just outdid us, to be fair. Yeah, we made a few silly little mistakes, but that happens at LAN, and we're just focusing on the lower bracket.
Well, when you kind of came back into the team, and because I know you've been out of the game for a while, it's a common thing I've been saying to a lot of returning faces. Henry's been here, Crazy Cat's been here. It's been like a bit of a reunion, hasn't it? 2006 reunion. But I mean, what kind of brought you back into it? Because you were very much out, and you've come into an established team with quite strong personalities already within it, and you're used to being a leader of your own team. So what was the motivation to come back, and how have you been adjusting to life back in a team?
Yeah, I guess at the end of Source had passed its time. I think a lot of people knew that. It was funny enough, after the last Epic LAN I stopped playing. It was in the summer, having a lot of fun. I've got a lot of else going on in my life now, not just games, so I quit when Source was about, because to be fair, I'd had enough of it. Yeah. And Go came out, and I loved it. Yeah. I played a bit of the beta, so it was a bit rubbish then. Right. But constantly updating it. It's a lot of fun. Seeing the tournament aspect. All these tournaments being released. There's a lot of interest in it. Lots of as a Source player, being able to play against Forest every day in PCWs and Neo. People that you'd looked up to. It's pretty awesome. I just started dabbling. Mixing, gathering. The rat scene started.
Yeah, I know. It hasn't changed then?
No, not at all. Not in the UK. No, it's it's rife. Yeah. But no, people started seeing I was playing again, and I spoke to Luke, and John was going to New Zealand, so it made sense that I played again with Luke, because we played a lot together in the past, and I'm having fun playing with people that I've not played with before. Really, Reese and Mike. Crazy Smurf, he's a unique character, but no, he's been living up to your expectations? Because I guess when you're an older player, someone who's been around the scene for a while, when you play with this kind of new school, I imagine stylistically they play very different to what you're used to. But not only that, do you ever get to that stage where you just want to tell them, please do it my way? I've been around the block. Yeah, there are aspects like that. I think those aspects are more game sense, like what they do, their movement and stuff. But to be fair, their aims are probably better than mine. They're quicker. Yeah. Definitely Pulse. He's insane. He's just like Dan.
He's been around as long as you anyway, though. That's the mad thing. I was saying,
scary. And he's only 18. Yeah. I'm 23. It's like, what the hell? But no, it's interesting playing with new people. I think it'd be a bit stale if I played with a whole team that I played with before. It's good to see that the UK is still producing a few little gems. Yeah.
How have you been finding it in Infused? Because I know you've had obviously dealings with the organisation. If we go back some, and since then it's had a complete change of management. Vank is the big guy now, the big boss. Is it still as good an organisation as you remember? Are you finding any improvements?
Yeah, I think Infused, when going back in the day, when it was run by Ads and Nick, I think towards the end of those days it had peaked, hadn't it, and it had died, and then Andy took over, and it was a bit rubbish, to be fair. But now it's back to its prominence. I think it's got a good UK bunch of teams, to be fair, and we've had no issues. They've been great, to be fair. Yeah.
What about looking at the kind of the UK scene in terms of tournaments? Because I know obviously you're a big proponent of I-Series. You've been to God knows how many of those. And Epic LAN are trying to provide something that's certainly bigger than the smaller community lands that have peppered it like down the years, like a Fire Core here, and what was it? Yeah, Starbites. What was the other one? Can't remember the bloody name of it now. But, Psychosis. That's what I was thinking of. Jack loved that one, didn't he? But yeah. So, do you feel like Epic is starting to maybe make headway? Because I know the event's had a few little teething problems.
Yeah, I think it is now that it's moved venue. That race course was getting a bit outdated. I think now coming somewhere a bit bigger, it's good to see. But I think a big part of it is that the UK scene isn't really helping it. It's obviously got people behind it that want to push it, and the COD scene. I mean, Call of Duty 4, they've brought 10 teams out of nowhere, and we've only got 8. It needs to be. It's a big shout out to the UK Go scene. They need to pull their fingers out and help it succeed. Otherwise, we'll have to keep struggling to find organisations send us everywhere else. So
why do you think that is? I did an interview with Winbar, and he thought it might be to do with just lack of sponsorship overall. But I think the sponsorship's out there to find it. I mean, Chef is putting a team together because he has to send someone to a land. So
yeah, the money's there. People have just got to give it a go. I mean, people just expect organisations to come to them. You've got to do a bit of graft, get some results, and then find an organisation.
What have you been making of the game, in its current state? Because I guess the fact you've been out of it for a while and then you've come back to it. I mean, has it been? Some people have been playing it a while are like, it's actually got progressively worse with the last couple of updates. But how are you finding it?
Obviously, I only have about, I think, 200 hours overall, where some of the insane guys have 1,000 now. But I found as it's gone on, I don't think it's changed if it's got better or worse. I think it's because certain aspects get better, some get worse. So the pistols was the latest thing that they messed up, but they're starting to get better. I think overall the game is just way better than Source, and I think the scenes of obviously the 1.6 haters,
Well, you're never going to change their minds anyway, so.
But I think the sources just all embraced it, which is nice to see. Yeah.
Sources as well, yeah. Right, let's talk about who's going to win and why. I know it's difficult because you're still very much in that equation, but when people were looking at it, people were saying it was you or CRG. Then Fish 1, 2, 3 were maybe leapfrogging one of you, but not both of you. And then TLR were like, oh, God, they're not awful. Everyone thought they were going to be bad, and they're actually doing okay. So what are your thoughts on the lay of the land?
I'd like to say we'll still win. Luke and I have been in loads of situations like this before where we've been in a lower bracket and had to win. Because the mixers eventually, they surprise people when you first play them, but hopefully eventually experience as a team will overcome that. I think Fish 1, 2, 3 will be in the final. I mean, Dan, Webber, Zed, Jake and Jamie, they've got a great combination of aimers and, strats on the fly. I think it'll be us and Fish 1, 2, 3 in the final.
If you don't win this LAN, is there any extra sort of pressure that comes with that? I mean, I know. And it's not like Luke to ever chop and change your roster. That's not like it. People have obviously said that about you down the years, that you're the origami man. And that's not really a true representation of what you're about. So, no, not anymore. Yeah, maybe not anymore. But, is there some pressure there because you are the team, you are the guys who probably got the biggest sponsorship here?
I think there is a lot of pressure. I think there should be because we're a team and those guys are a mix that have just pulled it together last minute. We should be beating mixers. So I think there is added pressure, yeah, and I think we should take that and take it to good advantages, not bad, because we know the pressure's on us, but they know that we're also better. We should be beating them. So yeah, I think there's added pressure.
Are Infused in that position now where you're going to be getting to European lands? Because I saw obviously CRG got a lot of stick for signing up to the Esports Heaven event in Vienna, and they were like, "How dare you? Go there. You're not going to win." Are Infused going to get to some European events in the future, or is it still going to be a predominantly UK? Let's get to I-Series. Let's get to Epic, or are you going to get on a plane?
Yeah, I think we'll see how this goes, and then I-Series. Unfortunately, no, I-Series is good. But you know, I think every UK gamer's ambition is to get out abroad. And I think we were talking about that Paris one that cropped up recently, and obviously Copenhagen Games as well. But obviously, you know, we've got to see how it goes. Talk to Andy, but I think the backing is there, which is exciting. So let's see how we do here, and then hopefully, yeah, definitely.
And sort of final thoughts. Like, I just wanted to pick your brains about what it's kind of like balancing a job, you know, all the other stuff that comes with adult life, and trying to find the hours. Like, what's your practice regime like at the moment?
Yeah, it's intense. It's an intense regime, to be fair. But no, the guys are pretty understanding. So a good example is I get up at 5, walk my dogs, come back, shower, off to work for 7:15. So I commute. So works about 4:30, come back, have tea, play till 10. It's mental, and I've got to thank Heidi. She's very fit, you know. She doesn't mind it too much. You know, got to still pay the mortgage. You know, it's hard. It is hard, but then if you love what you're doing, you'll put the time in. I try not to play too much. 3 days, 4 days maybe. But you know, it's hard. But if you use that time wisely, you can get a lot done still. But you're obviously still going to be a little bit behind the guys that are playing Friday, Saturday nights that I see. You know, it's
but they like to call them virgins, don't they? So. But anyway, look, it's great to catch up with you again, and you know, I hope it all works out for you with Infused, and we're not going to see any roster changes. But it's nice to see you at Elan again. Yeah, it's good to be back. And to all the people out there at cadred.org, do stay tuned to the website. We're going to have more interviews like this one. Maybe we're going to wait and see, and hopefully you've got this one before the event ends. But we'll definitely bring you more coverage in a kind of timely fashion from here at Epic 10 in Kettering.